Shocking. A royal guard heard a scream behind a locked bathroom door, one no child should ever make. When he broke inside, he uncovered a truth that had been buried deep inside Aldmere Keep. A truth powerful enough to destroy reputations, rewrite loyalties, and expose the darkness hidden behind royal walls. What he found changed everything. Stay with me till the end. I'll like this video and subscribe for more gripping stories. By early evening, Aldmere Keep breathed differently. After 6 p.m., the palace entered a strange kind of hush-not silence, but a tension that lived between footsteps. Servants spoke in softer tones. Guards tightened their patrol routes. Lanterns flickered against cold stone walls as the shadows stretched longer than they did in daylight, and somewhere in that growing quiet, Princess Liora vanished. She had missed her scheduled security check-in. She had not arrived for evening tea. No one had seen her in the East Garden, the library, or the royal classrooms. A princess did not simply disappear within palace walls, yet every servant questioned shook their head with growing worry. Sergeant Callum Wade, on rotation near the south bathing wing, felt the shift before anyone voiced it. Callum had served in Aldmere Keep for 12 disciplined years. He knew the sound of routine. He knew the sound of something broken. He heard water running first. The pipes in the south wing were old. They hissed and rattled in predictable patterns. But this sound, steady, unbroken, did not match any schedule. The bathing rooms were supposed to be empty. Callum frowned and approached the hallway. A housemaid hurried past him, eyes glued to the floor, hands shaking slightly. He paused. "Is everything all right?" he asked. The maid stiffened, but replied only, "I do not know, Sergeant." Before rushing away as if afraid her silence might be questioned, Callum continued down the hall. Steam curled from beneath one of the heavy oak doors. He recognized the room's south bathing chamber 3. Locked from the inside, a strange unease pressed into his chest. Then he heard it. A voice. A child's. Voice, thin, raw, trembling. "I said, I will be good. Just open the door." Callum stopped breathing for a moment. He stepped closer. Another sound followed. The sharp click of a lock sliding shut. Silence, then a scream. Not a tantrum. Not a cry of frustration. A scream born from fear. The kind a child releases when something inside them finally breaks. "Please, please do not close it again," the voice begged. "Lady Marianne, please. I am sorry, please." Callum's entire body went cold. He knew that voice. Princess Liora. He pressed his ear against the door. "Princess Liora. Can you hear me?" Silence. Then a muffled sob. "Please, someone. Please do not let her come back." Callum straightened immediately. His training, his instincts, everything in him moved at once. There were palace rules, strict rules about privacy in the bathing wings. No door was to be breached without royal permission, but there were deeper rules. Older rules, sworn rules. A guard protects the vulnerable. A guard shields the innocent. A guard does not wait while a child screams behind a locked door. Callum stepped back, planted his boots, and drove his shoulder into the door. It shook, but did not give. Again, a crack splintered through the frame. On the third strike, the lock tore from its housing, and the heavy door swung inward. Slamming against the tiled wall, steam filled the room like a thick veil, warm and blinding. Water poured from the copper bath spout, overflowing onto the floor. Callum stepped through it, boots splashing. "Princess Liora." He called out. He moved deeper, the steam thinned, and then he saw her huddled on the far side of the bathing room, curled behind a marble bench. Her dress was damp. Her small arms wrapped around her knees, shaking violently. Her eyes, wide, terrified, snapped toward him as if expecting someone far worse the moment she recognized him. The fear in her face loosened only slightly. "Sergeant," she whispered, voice cracking. "She locked me in. She said, it is my punishment. She said I must learn." Callum approached slowly, hands lifted to show safety. "Princess, You are all right now. You are not alone. Tears streaked her cheeks. I begged her to stop, she whimpered. She said I am weak, that I embarrass her. She said she will keep me in the dark until I behave. Callum felt something deep inside him, hardened in anger he rarely allowed himself to feel. Lady Marian did this? He asked softly. Liora nodded, hugging herself tighter. If she sees you helping me, she will punish you too. Callum crouched beside her. Your safety is worth any punishment. A new sound echoed down the hall footsteps. Sharp, rhythmic, familiar. Callum's face darkened. She is coming back. Liora froze. Callum swept her into his arms, pulling her close. I will protect you. No matter what comes through that door. He stepped away from the bath. Water soaking into his uniform, steam swirling behind him like rising smoke. Outside, the footsteps stopped. A cane tapped the floor once. Twice. Then Lady Marian's voice pierced the silence. Open this door, the storm had arrived, and Callum Wade stood between it and a child, who had run out of places to hide. The steam. Thinned as Sergeant Callum Wade positioned himself between the trembling princess and the door. Princess Liora clung to his uniform, her fingers gripping tightly as though letting go would return her to the darkness she feared. Her breaths came in fast, uneven bursts. Her small frame shook with every sound from the hall. Callum whispered firmly, Princess, stay behind me. No one will reach you. Cane tapped outside, slow, controlled, terrifyingly calm. Lady Marian's voice followed, colder than the marble beneath Callum's boots. Sergeant Wade, I know you are inside. Open the door. Callum did not move. Another tap. You are interfering. Still he remained silent. His hand rested on the hilt of his sword, not to strike, but to assure the child behind him that she had someone ready to defend her. Marian tried the handle. It rattled softly. Then her voice sharpened. I am commanding you to open this door. Callum spoke at last, his voice deep and steady. Your ladyship, the princess, is distressed. This matter must be brought to the queen. Beat of silence. Then laughter. Cold, simmering, humorless. You believe she is distressed because of me? Marian asked. You believe a child can tell you truth? Callum did not reply. Marian's tone dropped lower. She is manipulating you. She enjoys playing fragile. She must learn obedience. Now move aside. Callum did not move an inch. Liora whispered behind him, She will hurt you. Callum shook his head. I do not fear her. The door handle twisted violently. Callum braced himself, expecting force. Instead, Marian spoke with unnerving gentleness. Sergeant Wade, I know your service history. You are loyal, disciplined, respected. But this is treason. A guard who protects a disobedient child instead of her instructor betrays the order of the palace. Callum's jaw tightened. Punishment is not instruction. Punishment is necessary, Marian hissed. That child must learn her place. Liora shuddered. Callum angled his body slightly, shielding her completely. Marian continued, You will hand her over, or I will ensure your career ends tonight. Callum looked at the modern silver lock he had broken. He looked at the soaked tiles beneath his boots, the running water, the steam still curling around the bath. He looked at Princess Liora's terrified eyes, and he made his decision. I will not open this door, Lady Marian. The hallway went silent. Then Marian's voice returned, ice wrapped in fire. Then you leave me no choice. Callum heard her cane strike the floor once, twice, then footsteps faded. Liora whispered shakily, She will return with guards. She will take me away. She will not let you stop her. Callum turned and knelt in front of her. Princess, listen to me. Fear often looks larger than courage, but courage speaks louder when someone stands with you. Liora hugged the pouch at her chest. My grandmother used to say that. She was right, Callum said softly. Now we stand together. He helped her rise. Her knees trembled. She leaned against him, her breath still shaking. We cannot stay in this room, Callum said. She will return with force. Liora's eyes widened. Where will we go? There is a safer place, Callum replied. The West Tower, Liora gasped. My grandmother's tower? Yes, Callum said. Lady Marian avoids it. You will be protected there until we reach the Queen. He guided her toward the open doorway. The hallway outside was empty, but the air felt charged. As if the walls themselves listened, Callum crouched so he could meet her eyes. Princess, you must walk quietly. Hold on to me. She nodded, gripping his uniform as though her life depended on it. They moved through the south wing in silence. Callum checked every corner, listening for the rhythm of Marianne's cane or the armor of approaching guards. But the wing remained eerily still. As they reached the main corridor, Liora whispered, Sergeant. She hates the tower because it reminds her of my grandmother. Callum looked down at her. Why would memory cause hatred? Liora lowered her head. My grandmother protected me, but she also corrected Lady Marian when she used harsh words. She said cruelty is a seed that grows if no one cuts it down. Callum understood. Fear, resentment, control. There were roots that grew deep inside some people, and Lady Marian watered them every day. As they ascended the narrow staircase toward the West Tower passage, Liora paused. Sergeant, what if she tells lies to the Queen? What if the Queen believes her? Callum placed a firm hand on her shoulder. The Queen will see truth in your eyes. Lies fade when truth stands beside courage. Psst. Liora nodded slowly, drawing strength from his certainty. They reached the top of the staircase. The corridor ahead was dim, lit only by a single lantern that flickered against walls lined with portraits of old royal protectors. Callum inhaled deeply. We must move fast. Lady Marian will regroup, and she will not stop. Liora whispered. She is dangerous. Callum lowered his voice. And so is truth when it rises. He took her hand. Come, Princess. Tonight, we protect your voice. And together, they stepped into the shadows of the West Tower, unaware that Lady Marian had already summoned the palace guards. And the hunt had begun. The corridors leading to the West Tower stretched long and dim, lit only by lanterns whose flames flickered against weathered stone. Sergeant Callum Wade kept Princess Liora close as he moved with the silent urgency of a man walking between two rising storms. His steps were steady. But beneath the calm lived a fire growing with each second. He remembered the fear in Liora's voice. He would not allow that fear to return. Liora held his sleeve tightly, her breath still unsteady. Sergeant, she whispered, she will send the guards. They will listen to her before they listen to anyone else. Callum slowed, crouching so he could meet her gaze. Princess, some guards follow orders. Others follow truth. Tonight we will see who stands where. Liora swallowed hard. I am afraid. Callum offered a faint but warm expression. Do not let fear decide your steps. Your courage already led you out of that bathroom. Now let it guide you to safety. She nodded, though her eyes shone with unspoken questions. A sudden clang echoed through the keep. Callum froze. He raised a hand, motioning Liora behind him. Footsteps followed, heavy, rhythmic, purposeful, marching in unison. The sound grew louder. They are searching this wing, Callum murmured. How many? Liora whispered. Enough, he replied, that we must avoid direct paths. He guided her toward a narrow service hallway hidden behind a carved pillar. Dust coated the floor. Clearly no servant had stepped through the passage in years. Liora coughed lightly as dust rose into the air. Callum pressed a finger to his lips. Voices echoed nearby. Lady Marian said the child must be found before she reaches the Queen. Sergeant Wade forced open the bathing door. He may be armed. If you see him, restrain him immediately. Liora tightened her grip. Callum leaned closer. Princess, we must move when they pass. The guards' shadows stretched across the wall as they marched past the opening. Callum waited until the last echo of boots faded, before stepping forward. But the keep was not silent. Another sound rose from deeper within the hall this time, softer, but far more dangerous, the tapping of a cane lady. Lady Marian. Liora gasped silently. Callum guided her deeper into the hidden corridor. The lantern light grew dimmer, placed by the soft glow of moonlight spilling through tiny cracks in the stone walls. They moved carefully. But every few steps, Liora glanced behind her, as though expecting Marianne's pale eyes to emerge from the dark. "Sergeant," she whispered, "does she know about this hallway?" "No," Callum answered. "This part of the keep was sealed long before her arrival. Only the oldest guards know these paths." Liora looked up at him. "How do you know them?" Callum did not hesitate. "Because I served under your grandmother. She taught me the layout of Aldmere Keep. She believed a protector must know every corner where fear can hide." Liora's eyes softened with memory. She loved this palace. She said it could be beautiful if people chose kindness. Callum nodded. "And tonight, we choose it again." The corridor narrowed until they reached a low archway carved with symbols of the old dynasty. Beyond it, a spiral staircase led upward into shadows. "This way," Callum said. They ascended the stairs quietly. Each step creaked under Callum's weight, echoing faintly in the hollow shaft. Halfway up, Liora paused. "Sergeant," she whispered, "what if the Queen refuses to believe me? What if Lady Marian reaches her first and poisons her mind with lies?" Callum stopped, turning toward her. "Princess Liora," he said, voice deep and steady, "truth is not a fragile thing. Lies shine quickly, but fade. Truth grows roots. You speak truth. That gives you more strength than any cane or command." Liora breathed deeply, drawing courage from his words. At the top of the staircase, Callum pushed open a heavy door, revealing a long balcony overlooking the inner courtyard. The garden below glowed silver beneath the moonlight. The west tower was close now. "We are nearly there," Callum said. "Once inside, you will be protected until we reach the Queen." They stepped onto the balcony walkway and froze. A dozen guards marched into the courtyard below. Their armor gleamed faintly. Their torches burned as they scanned the area. At the front of them stood Lady Marian. She looked furious. Her gaze raked across the courtyard like a hawk hunting prey. Callum pulled Liora back into the shadows of the archway. "She knows the direction we are moving," he muttered. Liora's breath hitched. "How? Someone may have seen us," Callum said calmly. "Or she assumes the child will run toward the tower she fears." Liora pressed her hand hard against her mouth, fighting tears. "She is too close," she whispered. "She will catch us." But Callum placed both hands on her trembling shoulders. "Princess," he said firmly, "I promised your safety. I promised I would protect your voice. And I will." Liora stared at him, fear melting into trust. "Then what do we do now?" she asked. Callum looked toward the opposite side of the balcony. Small wooden door barely visible in the stone. "A hidden staircase," he said. "It will take us directly into the tower." He took her hand. "But we must move now. Once Marian reaches the corridor, she will seal every exit." Liora steadied herself. "I am ready," she whispered. Callum nodded once. Then the two of them stepped into the shadows again as Lady Marian lifted her cane, pointed toward the west tower, and commanded her guards, "Find them. Now." The hunt was no longer quiet. It had begun in earnest. The hidden door at the far end of the balcony groaned softly as Sergeant Callum Wade pushed it open. Cold air rushed upward from the narrow stairwell below, carrying the scent of old stone and forgotten years. Princess Liora clung to the railing for balance, her breath shallow but steady. The glow of torches in the courtyard behind them flickered against the walls. "Princess," Callum whispered, "stay close to me. These stairs are steep." Liora nodded and stepped lightly into the darkness behind him, her hand gripping the fabric of his tunic to keep herself grounded. The moment the door clicked shut, the world above them shifted. Voices rose. Torches moved. Lady Marian's anger spilled through the courtyard like boiling water. "She is heading toward the tower," Marian barked. "Block every entrance. Surround the west wing." Liora trembled. Callum placed his hand gently over hers to steady her fear. "We will reach the tower first," he said. "Trust me." They descended quickly, the stairwell spiraling downward before branching into a narrow corridor lined with old iron sconces. Ancient walls groaned softly under the shifting weight of the keep. Callum paused at the corner, listening. Liora whispered, "Are they close?" "Yes," he muttered. "Too close." Turned the corner and nearly collided with another figure, a guard tall, broad, wearing the crest of the Central Command. Callum stepped forward protectively, pushing Liora behind him, ready to draw his blade, but the guard raised both hands quickly. "Sergeant Wade," he whispered urgently, "do not draw your sword. It is Macorin." Callum exhaled slowly, lowering his stance but not his caution. "Corin, why are you here? Are you following Marian's orders?" Corin shook his head. "No, I have been searching for you. I overheard the palace staff. They say the princess ran away." "She did not run," Callum said sharply. "She hid, out of fear." Corin's mouth tightened. "I suspected as much. I saw Marianne earlier. Her eyes were wrong, cold, focused on punishment, not guidance. So, I left the main search group and followed the paths a frightened child might take." He looked at Liora with genuine concern. "Princess, are you hurt?" Liora shook her head, although the tremble in her voice betrayed everything she felt. "No, but she locked me in the bathing room. She said I must stay there until I earned obedience." Corin's expression darkened. "That crosses every boundary." Callum studied him. "We are bringing her to the West Tower for safety until we reach the Queen." Corin nodded. "Then I will help you. I will stall any guards who follow." Liora stepped from behind Callum. "Corin, thank you." He placed a fist across his chest in respect. "Your grandmother trusted me. I will honor her memory by protecting you." Callum nodded once. "Then let us move. The tower is ahead." They advanced quickly through the corridor, Corin guarding the rear. Every echo above them sounded sharper, closer. Torches flickered from the courtyard windows, their flames casting frantic shadows. As they reached another flight of stairs leading upward, Liora paused near a window slit. Her eyes widened. "Sergeant," she whispered. "Look." Callum glanced down. Lady Marian stood in the courtyard with 6 guards surrounding her. She pointed her cane toward the West Wing entrance. "Search every stairway, every room, every passage," she ordered. "That child is mine to discipline." Her words were sharp enough to cut air. Corin clenched his jaw. "We must move faster," Callum agreed. "Princess, up these stairs. Quickly." They ascended the final spiral until the corridor opened into the entrance of the West Tower. The smell of lavender and old cedar drifted through the air. Liora felt a wave of memory wash over her grandmother's laughter. Gentle lessons, stories whispered by candlelight. Callum placed his hand on the tower door. "Once inside, we will bar it." "She will not reach you," Corin added. "I will remain outside and mislead her guards." Liora stepped forward. "You will face punishment if she discovers your help." Corin smiled faintly. "Protection carries risk. Your grandmother taught me that." Callum pushed the door open and froze. The room inside was not empty. A faint light glowed from the far corner. Someone stood beside the old writing desk, their back turned. Liora gasped. "Captain Rowan." Rowan Hale turned toward them slowly, his calm eyes meeting Callum's. "I have been waiting for you," he said. "I knew you would come here." Callum exhaled with relief. "Captain, thank the heavens. We must reach the Queen before Marian twists the truth." Rowan looked at Liora with softened eyes. "Princess, you have endured fear that should never darken a child's heart." Liora lowered her head. "I did not know where else to go." Rowan knelt. "You made the right choice." Corin stepped inside. "Captain Marian is searching the West Wing with half the guard. You must help us protect the princess." Rowan rose. "I intend to," he said. His eyes hardened with resolve. "But first the truth must be spoken aloud. Not only to the Queen, but to the council that allowed this to grow." Callum realized Rowan understood the scale of what they were facing. This was no simple punishment. This was a pattern rooted deep within Aldmere. Then Rowan said something that made the room fall silent. Marian's actions tonight are not the beginning. They are the result of years of unchecked cruelty. Liora lifted her gaze, fear replaced by confusion. "Captain," she whispered, "what do you mean?" Rowan turned toward the window, watching torches swarm the courtyard below. "Princess, it is time you learn the truth about your mother's warnings, your grandmother's fears, and the secret that has followed you your entire life." Callum stepped closer. "What truth?" he asked. Rowan faced them again, his expression carrying the weight of something long hidden. "The cruelty you face tonight is not about discipline. It is about inheritance." Liora's breath caught in her throat. "What inheritance?" she whispered. Rowan answered, "The one Lady Marian wants to control." The air in the West Tower tightened around Princess Liora as Captain Rowan. Hale's words settled into the room like drifting ash. The single lantern flickered, casting trembling shadows across the faded portraits of old royals. Liora stood completely still, clutching the pouch at her chest, her breathing shallow. Even Sergeant Callum Wade did not speak. Rowan stepped away from the window, his boots whispering over the stone floor. "Princess," he said quietly, "your grandmother once told me something that I'd never understood until tonight." Liora's voice cracked. "What did she tell you?" "That you carry a legacy that inspires both loyalty and fear," Rowan said. "A legacy that Lady Marianne wants to shape in her own image." Liora shook her head. "I do not understand." Callum stepped closer, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "Princess, whatever the truth is, you will face it with us." Rowan nodded gratefully at him before continuing. "Your grandmother knew that you were born with a gentleness rare among rulers. She believed that compassion is a kind of power one that can change the course of kingdoms. Some embrace that. Others fear it." Liora looked down. "Lady Marian fears compassion?" "No," Rowan answered softly. "She fears what compassion might create, because compassion gathers loyalty without demanding it. And true loyalty threatens anyone who rules through fear." Callum understood instantly. "Marianne wishes to control the princess before compassion grows into influence," yes, Rohan confirmed. "She believes that if she bends Liora early with harshness, she can shape her into someone obedient. Someone easy to command. Someone who does not challenge cruelty." Liora's throat tightened. She said, "I embarrass her." She said, "I must learn respect." Rowan shook his head. "Respect built on fear is not respect. It is silence," Liora whispered. "My grandmother said that once." Rowan smiled sadly, because she knew this day would come. Corin stepped forward from the doorway, his expression firm. "Captain, if Marianne seeks control of the princess, then tonight was not a moment of anger. It was a calculated step." "Yes," Rowan said. "She has waited for years to take advantage of the Queen's trust. She presents herself as refined and responsible. But beneath that image lies hunger. Hunger for control." Liora stared at him, tears forming in her eyes. "Why me? I am small. I am quiet. I do not hold power." Rowan knelt again, so he could meet her eyes directly. "You hold the power to change hearts," he said gently. "Your grandmother saw it. The Queen sees it. Even Marianne sees it, and that frightens her. You inspire connection. You carry tenderness. And tenderness is a threat to those who lead through intimidation." Liora gripped her pouch tighter. "So she hurt me because she fears me?" Corin answered with a heavy voice. "Because she fears what you will become." Silence filled the tower room once more, broken only by the distant shouts of guards searching the palace grounds. Callum stepped forward. "Captain, if Marianne sees the princess as a threat, then she will go further tonight. She will not accept losing control." Rowan nodded grimly. "She will attempt to reach the Queen before we do. To twist the truth. To make Liora appear unstable or defiant." Liora's eyes widened. "She already told others that I ran away." Rowan stood. "We cannot allow her to frame you." Callum's eyes sharpened. "Then we bring the truth directly to the Queen." Corin stepped forward. "If Marianne reaches her first, she will not." Callum interrupted. "Because we will not allow it." Rowan placed a hand on his shoulder. "Callum, if you escort the princess through the north wing, Marianne will intercept you. She has guards stationed there. Callum exhaled slowly. Then we must take the tunnels. Liora blinked. What tunnels? Callum looked toward the floorboards beneath the old writing desk. Your grandmother taught me about them. They were built for emergencies. Most of the palace does not know they exist. Rowan nodded. I know of them as well. They lead under the council chambers and emerge near the Queen's private quarters. Corin allowed a small smile. Then Marian will search the halls while we travel beneath her feet. Liora stepped toward them, gathering her courage. I will go. I want to face the Queen. I want to speak the truth. Callum knelt in front of her, pride swelling in his chest. Princess Liora, fear can silence many people. But tonight you speak through courage, and that carries more power than you know. Rowan placed a gentle hand on her back. We must move quickly. Marian grows impatient. Callum walked toward the writing desk and pressed his hand against a carved emblem on its side. A faint click echoed through the tower, followed by the soft groan of wood shifting. A concealed trapdoor opened beneath the rug. Cool air rushed upward. Carrying the faint smell of earth and old stone, Liora stared into the darkness below. Her fear flickered, but this time something stronger rose beside it. Resolve. She turned to Callum. Sergeant, will we reach the Queen? Callum smiled gently. Yes, and she will hear everything. Rowan stepped to the trapdoor. Then let us begin. Rowan positioned himself near the tower entrance. I will distract any guard who comes near. Go. I will buy time. Liora looked at him. Thank you. Corin bowed his head. Callum guided her to the ladder. Princess, follow me. Rowan will protect you from behind. Liora nodded. Her foot found the first rung as she descended into the dark. She whispered, I am ready to speak the truth. Callum followed her. Rowan closed the trapdoor above them, and in that moment, Lady Marian stormed into the West Tower corridor seconds too late. The trapdoor closed above them with a deep, final thud, sealing Princess Liora, Sergeant Callum Wade, and Captain Rowan Hale inside the darkness of the old tunnel. Only a faint lantern Rowan, lit moments earlier, illuminated the narrow stone passage. Dust drifted through the air like pale ghosts of forgotten years. Princess Callum said softly, Stay close. The ground is uneven. Liora nodded, clutching his hand tightly as they began moving forward. Her heart pounded, but there was a new steadiness inside her, a strength she never knew she held. She was no longer running. She was walking toward the truth. Rowan followed behind, watching the shadows, listening for any sign of pursuit. Above them, faint echoes of boots and Lady Marian's furious commands vibrated through the stone. She is searching the tower, Rowan whispered. Corin is holding her off, but he cannot do so for long. Then we must go faster, Callum said. They moved deeper into the passage. The tunnel branched twice, once toward the council chambers, once toward the Eastern Archives. Callum chose the path to the right. As they walked, Liora whispered, Sergeant, when we reach the Queen, what do I say? Callum slowed, turning to her with gentle firmness. You will speak the truth, Princess. The truth is sharp, does not need to be loud, Rowan added, and we will stand with you. You will not speak alone. Liora swallowed hard. Courage flickered through her chest like a rising flame. After several long minutes, the tunnel sloped upward. A faint rectangle of pale light peered ahead, a concealed exit in the Queen's private corridor. Rowan extinguished the lantern. It is safer if we approach unseen, he said quietly. Callum pushed the hidden door open a crack and peered through. The Queen's corridor stretched empty, lit by soft golden lamps. The faint scent of jasmine drifted through from the Queen's chambers. It is clear, Callum whispered. Princess, stay behind me. Rowan, watch our flank. He stepped into the corridor, quiet as shadows. But 3 steps and a figure turned the corner. Not Lady Marianne, the Queen, Queen Alawan. Draped in silver and white, walked toward them with calm grace. Her eyebrows lifted slightly as she took in the sight before her Callum's worn uniform. Rowan's firm stance and Princess Liora's trembling presence between them. My child, the Queen said gently, I have been searching for you. The entire palace is in uproar. What has happened? Liora froze. Fear surged, words tangled in her throat. Callum gave her a small nod. She took a step forward. "Mother," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I was hiding because I was afraid." The Queen's expression shifted with quiet shock. Afraid? Of whom? Before Liora could answer, heavy footsteps echoed from behind. Lady Marian. She appeared from the far end of the corridor with 2 guards flanking her, her cane tapping sharply against the floor. "Your Majesty," she cried. "I have found them. The princess has been defiant. These men interfered enough," the Queen said, her voice cutting through the hallway like steel wrapped in velvet. "Marian, stand aside," Marian faltered, her expression tightening. "Your Majesty, you do not understand." She ran from instruction. She refused discipline. "I said enough," the Queen repeated. Stepping protectively closer to Liora, the Queen knelt, lifting her daughter's chin gently. "Liora, speak truthfully. Why were you hiding?" Leora's breath trembled. Callum saw her fingers tighten around the pouch, her grandmother's pouch, and knew. This was the moment she had been carrying all her life. She spoke. "Lady Marian locked me in the bathing room," Liora whispered. "She said I must stay there until I obey. She said fear would teach me. She said pain would keep me silent." The Queen's face went still. Marian's eyes widened. "She lies," no, Rowan said firmly. "She speaks the truth. I have heard Marian use such words before. Many of us have. We did not understand the extent of her actions until tonight." Callum stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I broke the bathroom door because the princess screamed for help. No guard should ignore such fear." The Queen rose slowly. Her expression transformed grief in her eyes, strength in her posture, and a storm behind her calm voice. "Marianne," she said quietly, "did you lock my daughter in a bathing chamber?" Marianne's voice cracked. "I used discipline. She is soft. She must learn firmness if she is to lead." The Queen's voice rose, sharp, regal, unshakable. "Discipline is not cruelty. Instruction is not imprisonment." In fear, she turned toward Liora, placing a gentle hand on her head. Fear has no place in childhood. Leora's small body released a trembling breath, as if a weight had finally lifted. The Queen faced Marianne fully. "You will leave Aldmere Keep tonight. You will hold no authority over my daughter or any child again. The council will review your conduct in full." Marianne's cane slipped slightly. "Your Majesty, you misunderstand?" "No," the Queen whispered. "I am seeing clearly for the first time." 2 guards stepped forward. Rohan moved aside so they could escort Lady Marian away. As Marian disappeared down the hall, her voice echoed faintly anger, mixing with disbelief. But the Queen did not look back. She turned to Callum and Rowan. "You both protected what is most precious to me," she said softly. "Your courage will not be forgotten." Callum bowed his head. Rowan placed a hand on his chest. But the Queen lowered herself to face Liora again. "My child," she whispered, "I am sorry that you carried this fear. You will never face it again. I promise you." Liora stepped forward and embraced her mother tightly. The Queen held her close, tears shimmering in her eyes. Callum watched, tension in his chest finally easing. Rowan exhaled slowly, knowing the keep would never be the same again. For the first time since her grandmother's passing, Princess Liora felt safe. And Sergeant Callum Wade knew one truth with absolute certainty: when a guard chooses compassion over fear, he protects far more than a crown. He protects a future,